been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Chair, I do like to have deja vu from time to time, but I don't have $1.5 million worth of deja vu. So I'd like to know what's going on if possible.
Council, the prior council approved two ordinances. It was Ordinance 788 and Ordinance 804 for a total of the $1,517,000. In those ordinances, it specifically stated where the funds were supposed to come from, a Fund 406, which is Walter B. Brown Industrial Park. When I went to look at Fund 406 so I could transfer the funds per these two prior ordinances, it had a zero fund balance. So the reason for this resolution is to still do what council had passed, to transfer the money to the spec building construction on parcel 9, but it can't come from Fund 406 because there's no funds in that account. So that's why this ordinance specifically states to come from the general fund.
Can I ask a question? Where did they go?
I tried to track it back, and I found at least about, I think, about 751,000 of it. It was transferred to a spec development account, but it was for parcel 7, 751,915. So it was transferred to another fund to cover some expenses related to parcel 9. So, and this was done September 2022. The entry was done. Council had approved Ordinance 788 February 2022, and the second ordinance you approved December 2022. So in between that, the funds have been transferred to cover some other expenses with parcel 7.
Well, if that's 700,000, what happened to the other 800,000? Where did it go? Can you tell me?
If I knew, yes, I would, ma'am.
It evaporated?
I don't think so. I was specifically going by what the ordinance said, looking in Fund 406. It would take a lot of time to try to figure out. 406, I knew it was how much was transferred from 406. So I'm looking in for Fund 406 where it says the money should be taken from. So after the 751 was transferred out of that account, there's nothing left in the account.
Who transferred it?
It was a journal entry that was done. I traced it back to a journal entry that was done by the former finance director. So in order for me to get any more information about the transfers, it would take a lot of time and probably have to have a discussion with her about what happened.
I think we need a discussion. $800,000 can't just flip up and
It
go
probably
away.
was put in another account, but I don't know what account that it was put in. I'm pretty sure it didn't evaporate, it didn't disappear. It could have been transferred into the general fund, but going back for me to do that, I would need some assistance because I would have to run the entire journal entry to try to figure out what went where.
Does that need a council approval correction?
Yes, I think this resolution need council approval. The amount has already been approved, but the source.
Gotcha.
I think we need to know where it is, where it went to.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what y'all think, but I do. I mean, you know, it's $1.5 million. That ain't $150, y'all. That's $1.5 million. We need to know where it is.
Well, should we table this until we have more time?
I'm sorry. The problem is since this was already obligated and it was already passed, we have invoices that need to be paid that is relying on this 1.5. It was already approved by council to allocate this money to that project.
We got to find out where it is.
Ms. Johnson can definitely do some research and try to get you an answer of where that money went. But the question before us now is we got to approve this resolution to pay for the invoices that's outstanding.
I understand that, but we need to know where the money is.
We can still go ahead and still look and trace back. That's going to take a lot more time. But again, the 1.5 was already approved by county council, prior council, and it was obligated for this project. Yes, we do.
I just want to know who transferred it, who gave them the authority to do it,
It's already been,
and where it went to.
yeah, it's already been moved and properly seconded. We already had discussion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0. Resolution number 2023-07.
Next, we have an audit update. The audit is going well. We have been providing any additional documents as requested, but also keep in mind that the audit did not begin until November. Last month, we received notification that legislation has passed that allows all counties to request a 90-day extension without having your state funds to be withheld. So we've already filled out that because we don't know when the audit is going to be finalized with holidays, et cetera, and it not beginning until November. I'm pretty sure it's definitely not going to be done by December 31st. So we went ahead and put that in. Do not anticipate using a 3-month extension, but we just put it in there anyway. And the state has sent a letter saying that they approve the extension.
Just curious, is some of this problem still, is that the audit firm, are they delaying, causing any delay for you?
Well, to be honest, the reason that they had scheduled us for November to begin test work is because of not being prepared for the fiscal year 22 audit. So it pushes us back because we weren't prepared. And they are actually going to get the counties and the other entities that are prepared and ready for them. So they ended up putting us on a list for November. Okay, and also in regards to the audit and additional financial information, I wanted to, first of all, the finance director, Ms. Beverly Mosey, fell ill and she was unable to attend. She sends her apologies. So she's well-versed on this information that I'm about to give you, so just bear with me because I had to pull this together rather quickly with her assistance. Thus far, we have paid the IRS in penalties and interest $1,184,417.11.
Repeat that, please.
$1,184,417.11. So I'm going to go through all of this so we can all have an understanding.
That's 1.2 million.
Yes, ma'am, and
Thank you.
We'll add some more to it in a minute.
Thank you.
Tax year 2017, IRS forms with their 1094s and 1095s, they are healthcare forms. They are, let's see. It was submitted in a timely manner, but it contained errors. So the file for the 2017 healthcare forms was not successfully submitted to the IRS until February 15th, 2023. This resulted in us paying $386,379.51 just for that one occurrence, okay?
Wait a minute. This is the 2017?
2017.
And it was submitted in 2023?
Yes.
Is that what you just said?
Yes, ma'am. So the penalties and interest total $386,379.51. I'm moving forward. Tax year 2019. There's a quarterly report, it's called 941, but this is a quarterly report. It was for the quarter ended 12/31/2019. That means it's due January 31st, 2020. According to the letter from the IRS, it wasn't paid in full and it was not received by the deadline. It was received March 2020, not January 2020. Tax year 2019. Okay? We cannot confirm if letters were coming from the IRS. We cannot find letters going back from 2020 on. But we received, Finance Department received these letters around May, June 2023. At that time, when they received the letters, we had to pay $378,682.76. We paid that June 2023. So let's all keep in mind that when taxes are due and the forms are due, if we're late, they start calculating the penalties and the interest, and it goes and keeps accumulating until you actually pay that bill. Tax year 2020, a quarterly report for December 31st, 2020, the letter said failed to file in a timely manner. Okay, so we had to pay $390,027.18. That check was cut June 14th.
Of this year.
Yes, everything I'm talking about we paid this year. Tax year 2021. A quarterly report for 12/31/2021. It was filed twice, so the IRS sent a letter and said you filed it twice. We combined both of your returns, determined what taxes had not been remitted, and then added the penalties and interest. That was $29,327.66. Tax year 2022, quarterly report for 9/30/2022. It was due October 2022. With the changing of staff and everything and new payroll person, they discovered that the report had never been submitted to the IRS. So Finance prepared this report and submitted it June 2023. The bill has not come for this particular liability, but I should have let you know, Ms. Mosey has talked to the IRS about 3 to 4 times trying to figure out what these bills are, et cetera. So this is what she was told. But for the tax year 2022, the bill from the IRS has not come yet, but they have verbally told Ms. Mosey that a bill for $214,133.96 for that occurrence will be mailed. Also, in her conversations with the IRS, for tax year 2021, there was the health care forms. She was informed that the health care forms, which is 1094 and 1095, they have never been submitted. So can't give you penalties and interest on that because it hadn't been submitted. So it's up for the current staff to submit this file. It's going to be a little bit delayed because with the changing in the staff, they have to ask for new user ID and passwords from the IRS, okay? They have already done that, so they have to wait until these passwords come. They did not expect anything from other years not to have been submitted. They were preparing for the end of this year, in which tax forms are going to be due end of January. Some of them, like this healthcare form is not due to March. So the request has been made for the user ID and passwords. According to the standard language from the IRS, it could take up to 45 days for them to mail the credentials. So we can't remit. Finance cannot remit, or HR cannot remit these healthcare forms until they get the user ID and password and then generate the file. You all were I had told Ms. Mosey, just out of respect, please call the former finance director, because we just wanted to understand what was going on and where she was in all of this. Had there been appeals, et cetera. I put on your desk, she sent you all an email actually explaining, and it was basically talking about the healthcare forms. So in her email, she's referring to the healthcare forms, but no comments were made about the other quarterly reports that Ms. Mosey discussed with her over the phone. So also you can see in Ms. Bass' email, it says that any IRS letter that came after she was gone, that she is not aware of, and that these letters, she says, I think she never received these letters or have no knowledge of all of this. So, but we wanted to give her at least the opportunity to ask where we were in this. She did explain again in the email that she had did appeals. I don't know for which of these areas an appeal was done, but we found no correspondence regarding these tax years, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, with any appeal process started. I think my concern more so is, in an appeal process, you must include why this happened, what was the mitigating circumstances, to ask them to please refund us this money. And honestly, I have yet to understand or to know why all of this occurred. The untimely filing, not filing at all. So with the $1,184,417.11, that's what has already been paid. What is yet to be paid is the $214,133.96. When we get the bill, we'll pay that. That brings the total up to $1,398,551.07. That $1,398,551.07 does not include the tax year 2021 forms that I just discussed with you, the healthcare forms that have not been submitted as of this date, because we got to get the user ID and password for the new staff in order to remit those, to remit that file. So after that file is remitted to the IRS, then I expect sometime after that to get another bill for late filing. And you also have, since Ms. Mosey was ill and could not make it, she also wrote an email to me about the telephone conversation that she had with Ms. Bass. I put that, you have that as well.
This $1.5 million, that's our taxpayers' money.
Yes,
That's absolutely inexcusable. They want transparency. We need to know why this happened.
I agree.
How are we gonna find out?
Went to the source, so, I mean,
Source
I
didn't
can't.
tell us much.
Well, that's true, but there's no way for us to find out exactly what happened, because if a quarterly report is late, it's late. That's it. That's the reason. It was submitted late.
But if you're the finance director, don't you know when these things are due?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Morgan, what can we do about this?
Ms. Winterton, I think at this moment, would be best we go into executive session. I could
That's
probably,
fine.
give you a little bit more information about that if necessary.
Just another question. So we're looking at probably, you said, an additional fine, so it's totaling, what, 1.8 maybe total? Oh, I'm just guesstimate, wait, 1.8, what it sounds like total?
Well, it's 1,398,55107. That's what we know about, have bills, we receive bills, whether paid or unpaid. That is what we have on record right now. And one
Still
is,
gotta find that 1.5 still though, right?
yes.
Okay.
Is that it, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, and just to add that these was unbudgeted, so these are gonna have to come from fund balance, of course. But what we have, excuse me, keep saying we, keep going back to my finance days. What finance has done though, is that when they start sending these quarterly reports, you always have to remember the burden of proof is always on you. You can say that you mailed it, et cetera, and it never made it, and they're gonna tell you the burden of proof is on you. So what we have started doing is that when we are mailing these quarterly reports, until we can get approved to transmit online for the 941 reports, that they are sending them certified and getting a signature. And that really did help, because we ended up getting another letter saying, hey, you didn't remit this, and all we had to do was print a copy, make a copy of, the receipt and say, here it is. I'm done, Mr. Chair. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Now we are down to clerk to council's report, none. We are down to item 16, county council time. Any council members wish to be heard? Mr. Roof?
Yeah, I just want to say, I hate to get all this bad news right here before Christmas, but it is what it is. But anyway, want to wish everybody up here and all the citizens, everybody, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Roof. Ms. Green?
Ditto.
Yeah, thank everybody for being here. I know it's been a long night. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you have a safe holiday season.